Welcome to my channel. I'm Mark van Leeuwen and today we're going to talk about the making of Hearts and Canons. Maybe you have seen the story time with Joburg. If not, I will put a link in the description below because they do a complete reading of the book. But I'm going to talk about how I made things, so it's a little behind the scenes. I hope you enjoy. The book was created for Gary V from the Chaplain's Assistant Motorpod. It was my way of saying thank you to him because he offered to be my mule to get the Haslab Sky Striker to my home. The story was written by Alfred Pegal, but I changed it, although I use literally quotes from the cartoon. So let's start with the opening page, where you can see a Chaplain C-30 plane, which G.I. Joe tries to land and Cobra tries to hinder. It's actually inspired by number 68 of the comic. I wanted a different opening scene than the cartoon, just for practical reasons. I don't have a Jabbar, nor do I have Middle Eastern action figures or a palace or something of ruins. So I wanted just an explosive opening that would suck you in as a reader, but also would be able to place all the pawns in the game, as to say. So the Mauler should be there in the desert with Covergirl, and Footloose and Dusty should have land, which they do actually in the beginning of the cartoon as well, with the exception of Covergirl. Just the Mauler they actually ejected from the plane. In my case, it just, well, it rolls out. I hope this works and you can see me. So first up is the backdrop. And what I often do is also have the same color on the ground. I do this very often when I want to recreate some kind of illusion of depth. But also, to give it more space. The next thing I did, because I wanted this thing to fly, and it is like this in the comic, but yeah, that didn't work. So with poster body, I placed the explosion around it. And then for the fact that I wanted to make this as if it was flying, I had to put the rest in an angle. So this was not the strut I actually used. If you look carefully to the picture, you can see a thinner, a smaller strut. But the idea is that you place this like an angle, and also the other hisses. So one in the middle, one on that side. And if I just this is how it looks like from the sides. But I think you got the idea. During the reading of Hearts and Canons, Stephen mentioned that Nightshade and Dr. Winters actually kind of look like each other. And this is not strange, because they're both Super 7 reaction figures and they represent the same character from Parks and Recreation, played by Chris Pratt. So you see one Chris Pratt without glasses and one with glasses, and I took the one with glasses for my avatar simply because he kind of looks like me. While Dr. Winters without his glasses, yeah, he looks more like Chris Pratt, and I don't look like Chris Pratt. So it was clear to me which head I wanted to use for my character, for my avatar Nightshade. Coming back to the book, let me explore a little bit more on Dr. Winters. As I told before, he is a 5 POA figure from Super 7. And because he is, I made all kind of reference to it, just having a bit of a fun. So, for example, because of the way he holds his hands, I gave him the sentence, "I must warn you, I know Kung Fu." It just looked funny, which of course he doesn't. Another reference is when they actually rescue him, then Footloose asks him, "Can you fly one of these?" referring to the trouble bubbles, and he says, "I don't think I can," because he cannot bend his legs, he doesn't fit in. But fortunately, this works. So there's another reference. Just another one is when he's actually asking them who they are. Footloose says, "Keep your hands on the steering wheel, Doctor," which he can't in this position. But he can so when I turn him around, as you can see. As you can see here. So I have put all kinds of small jokes in there, referring to the fact that he can only move so much because he has only 5 points of articulation. Another joke I have is, it's starting with the big scorpion that Footloose encounters at the beginning, which is actually taken from the cartoon. So at one moment when Footloose is infiltrating, he's asked to give a password. And the first thing he comes up with is Cobra, of course. He's infiltrating a Cobra mobile command center. But the first thing that comes up is this scorpion, which he encountered a few pages before. Wouldn't you, if you would have seen a giant scorpion? And of course, Cobra being Cobra, it is correct. But there's also a vehicle that is called the Cobra Scorpion. So when Footloose comes down with the doctor, Dusty says, "Hurry now, find us a better ride, a Cobra Scorpion." On which Footloose replies, "That's funny, a Cobra Scorpion." And of course, Dusty doesn't know what happened inside, so he's, "Why?" And Footloose is just, "Never mind, let's go." But it goes to show you that Cobra is not really creative in finding names, but I just thought it was funny to put it in there. Another thing I took from the cartoon is that Destro is ordering his troops to enter the death zone to follow the Joes. In my version, he's actually shooting one of the officers, the Stinger driver. But in the cartoon, he's sending Wild Weasel and a squadron of Rattlers after his troops and says, "Shoot them if they don't go," on which the Cobra replies reluctantly, "Cobra," and they drive themselves into the death zone with the same result as I have in my book. Why I didn't use the Rattlers? Because I thought, well, Rattlers can fly over the death zone and bomb the entire death zone, including the Joes, so why would they chase up their own troops? So I resolved it in a way that I thought suited better for Destro, but the message is the same. It's really cool, I think, in a kid's cartoon that Destro is actually ordering his troop to shoot his own troops if they don't comply to what he says. It's brutal, but Hey, it were the 80s. Apparently that was a thing. But yeah, for me it made the cartoon again more realistic and more lively, and it stood out above everything else that was made at the time, at least for me. So what you see here is that I make use of forced perspective. As you can see here, you have smaller his tanks in the back, then some closer up, and then of course the ones in the front. And I do this here as well. You see all kinds of vehicles at a distance and smaller in the back. Talking about force perspective, I use three kinds of scale. Of course, the original hiss, then a smaller stinger from Jada Toys. I think it was Jada Toys, and of course the smaller hiss. The figures that you see are from Masterpiece. I think it's Spike Witwicky and his father or his son. Came with Optimus Prime. Anyway, I have also the smallest scale, also Jada Toys, two little hisses, and yeah, that's how it works. You just place them behind each other on a slope. You put boxes as in a slope, and you put like the cloth over it, and then you get this idea of distance. I use it here. You can see it in the back. I use it here as well. Here also. I use it often, actually. The funny thing is that my table is not that very big, so by using forced perspective like that, yeah, I can create distance while there actually isn't any distance. So that's kind of cool. So the last thing I want to talk about is what's happening here. What is the relationship between Megatron and this particular his driver who's wearing an Autobot symbol? Actually, he's referring to the series More Than Meets the Eyes and The Last Light, which was written by James Roberts for IDW, the run. Incredibly series. I really like that. And it tells about how Megatron becomes the captain of an Autobot ship. It's really great. So this is that Megatron. That Megatron changed during the comics, and I took that idea and in my own continuity it developed on how they met and what the relationship exactly is. That will feature in another book. I will come back to that at one point in this series. I'm not sure when, but I will elaborate more on that. So, and there you have it, Hearts and Canons, a little insight behind the scenes. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you did, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.